Welcome back to Politics Unplugged. Our panel this week, Republican political consultant Marcus Dellartino and Democratic political consultant Jevin Hodge. Thank you both for being here. Obviously, the big story this week was the hearing on that abortion law, and what's going to happen.
Was that a story?
Yeah, a slight one. It was a bit of a story this week. So the big argument in court was which law takes precedence, whether they were going to reinstate an 1864 ban that bans nearly all abortions except for when the life of the mother is at risk, or a bill passed in 2022 that bans abortions after 15 weeks. We're still waiting for the outcome of that ruling. I do want to talk to ask you, from what you saw from that, did you see any indication that the court is leaning one way or the other?
Oh, no. I think it's really dangerous to get into that guessing game of what the court's going to do.
That's what we do here, Marcus.
It's like, it's like trying to guess what your wife wants for dinner. Don't bother trying. It's not going to work out well. So, I think that the decision's going to come after the first of the year. I don't think anybody should be surprised by that. And I don't think it's going to be a close decision. I think it'll be fairly unanimous, or closer to unanimous than tied, certainly.
And did you see anything that maybe that the court was tipping their hand in any sense?
I agree with you here, Marcus. You know, it is a very dangerous game to play this guessing game right here. And I actually do agree with you again. Look at this, man. We're on a roll today.
Bipartisanship.
There we go. This is it. We just solved it. I do not believe that it's going to be a close decision. I do believe that it's going to be a decision that is going to, but in addition to that, what I do believe is going to happen is the fact that this is going to influence this upcoming election. Whatever comes out of this is going to influence this upcoming election. And
what do you think? I mean, right now there is that abortion access initiative that's gathering signatures. Expect no problems for that getting on the ballot. If the court sides with the 15-week ban instead of the total ban, do you think that could take some of the wind out of the sails in the initiative moving forward?
I do think it takes a little wind out of the sails, certainly, because what the opponents of the ballot initiative are going to say is that the ballot initiative allows for abortion up to 9 months. And I don't think that that's where the majority of voters are. And as you so aptly put earlier, the answer to this question in polling all matters on how you ask the question. And voters are somewhere, the majority of voters are somewhere in the middle trying to figure out where to be. But they're certainly not in favor of abortions at 9 months. And so the opponents are going to zero in on that and say, look, the current law, the 15-week ban, it makes certainly reasonable sense. Is what they're
I think
argue.
what's going to happen here is that the voters are going to be more concerned about their personal agency. They're going to be more concerned about the fact that their rights have been infringed upon, and that they need the freedom to be able to decide what they want to, whatever medical decisions they want to make for themselves. And I think that that's what it's going to come down to. All
right, let's pivot a little bit. We just had Congresswoman Lesko on, and we just had Speaker Bentoma on, who wants to replace her on that. This is a fascinating Republican primary. You have Donald Trump endorsing Abe Hamadeh in this race, Lesko endorsing Bentoma in this race, and still, Bentoma considered more mainstream, more of the classic conservative business Republican. Still can't just straight up answer the questions on election fraud, of whether he thinks any elections last year were fraudulent or not. Can't just simply say, no, they were all free, fair, and above board. Why is that?
I think he answered the question, and that is, I think that some of these companies unfairly influenced the election, and I think that evidence supports that on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. But that question of what you're asking is, was there some little magical elf in the machines changing votes? The evidence isn't there. It doesn't support it, and so, I think it's a fair answer.
Did you think he gave a straightforward answer?
No, he absolutely did not. I mean, here's the thing. In that primary, it's the battle of the bottom. He's the closest thing to a moderate or a traditional conservative, but it's the battle of the bottom.
We got to go with traditional conservative. Right, we cannot call Bentoma a moderate.
Right. I mean, the closest thing, right, to even remotely being near looking towards the middle. But I'll say this, right, when it comes down to the future Republican Party, I mean, one, it's broken. But two, the opinion around election denialism and if the election is fraud is basically what is the litmus test moving forward. And so if you believe that the election is real, you're not a Republican and you're not conservative enough. And that's the reason why Democrats will win in this upcoming election.
Well, but they're not going to win in that one because it's a majority Republican district. So it's whoever wins that primary is going to win that general. And I'll tell you, he's got a couple secret weapons in his his back pocket here. And you know, he's been endorsed by GM Brewers, certainly Lesko. And if you've ever been out to Sun City with either of those two, you will know they're both rock stars out there. And I think that's going to go a long way.
And do you think, though, the Trump endorsement, as we've seen play out in past primaries, emphasis on primaries, has the Midas touch in this district? Marcus?
We've had this Midas touch question like 1,000 times over the last 2 years. And look, does a Trump endorsement help? Yes.
In a primary, yes, it's shown it does.
I'm telling you, I'm agreeing. I'm saying yes, it helps. I'm not telling you it's the only thing. And I think people get wrapped around the wheel on that one and just say that's it. And it's not it. There's funding, there's grassroots activity, there's movement. How you actually conduct your campaign, all these are important that go into winning.
Congresswoman Lesko's endorsement is more significant in this district, in my opinion.
All right, we're going to have to end it there on that statement right there. That is all the time we have this week. But be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged. Good night.